know how it goes. You guys both hold down day jobs while DJing. I did that for 5 years myself. Brandon does that. Describe what that's like. How do you guys manage your time, like pre-pandemic? Obviously now it's different, but pre-pandemic, how are you guys managing your day job and the DJ life? And it's not just any DJ life. It's not like you guys are doing weddings where they're over at 11, you're home at 12. You're not home till 3, 4 o'clock, and you're probably doing a little after party sometimes. Talk about that.
I struggle. I mean, it all depends on what the other job is. I did engineering at the Hilton downtown for like 2 years. That kind of was not too ideal because it was just like constant, manual labor, early mornings and stuff like that. But more office related the work can be, the more compatible I think I can do with lack of sleep and stuff. Either way, it's not healthy, but if you guys have advice on how to balance this stuff.
so are you admitting defeat, Connor? Because you seem like you got it together, man.
Just say no is my advice. When there's an option to do something, just say no. It feels weird, but then eventually it'll start to feel good.
That's not that I know.
People give me shit for it. Sam does too, but I don't really go out per se unless I'm working for the most part. I mean, so that helps. I kind of consolidate all my social interactions into while I'm DJing, so that when I'm not DJing, I can just fall off the grid and not be contactable, basically.
For me,
go ahead, Sam. Go ahead. No, you good.
For me, I've been lucky. I've had very understanding bosses that understand that working late nights, whatever, and it's a unique job scenario where we can kind of make our own hours and kind of work at our own schedule. So I mean, they're used to me rolling in at 11 a.m. whatever, and then just working late to make up those hours. And not so much now, since I'm working on getting a better sleep schedule. But for the 2.5 years of working Thursday through Saturday, especially during football season when you clock 25-hour weekends or more, you're worn out, and so getting that extra sleep. So I don't know. That's the only thing that made it remotely possible for me, because I like my sleep. But I mean, even with that, you're drained mentally, physically, emotionally.
Yeah. Definitely don't party while you're working. Like, sooner you treat it like a job, the world better everything becomes. Because if you're partying consistently as much as like a DJ who's paying their rent does, then you're probably going to kill yourself after like 2 months. I mean, that's what blows my mind is, we're so dependent on people who are willing to drink every night. Like it's nothing. And like,
don't go down that path, Connor. That's dangerous thinking, bro, being in the bar industry. Do not.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know how people, like, I don't know how our customers do it. I'm like, props to you guys for being in here like 3 times a week, like get shit-faced and having a good time. Like I, drink. If I get blacked out one night, I'm probably going to have a sinus infection for a month. So
the funniest thing is on like Michigan game days, we're DJing for 16 plus hours. And so you'll see the same people like 3 separate times during the day. They come out in the morning, they get drunk, disappear for a few hours, show up with a new outfit, kind of sober. And then they'll do it another time. And it's like, how are you doing this?
Yeah.
Or it's like a Wednesday and they've been there like on Friday, Saturday, the week before. You're like, where are you getting these money? Like you're college students. Like I know clearly you can't be working jobs because you're here.
It blows my mind.
All right. I know you guys watch the podcast. You both know how passionate I am about this next segment. Tips for listeners. You both have done a ton of college shows. Sam, we're going to talk about your kind of move downtown post double retirement. But what tips do you guys have for listeners in general that they have not heard before?
Sam, go first.
specifically for like open format gigs.
Whatever you think. Whatever you think. Any DJ, man. What does every DJ have to know that they don't know?
So I think for bar gigs is lose your ego. There's a lot of shit that, you know, we don't want to play. You know, it's not something that we personally get enjoyment out of, but it's like, this is what works. You know, we're not here necessarily as artists. We're here as employees of the bar to serve the patrons. You know what I mean? To provide entertainment for them, to make sure that they have a fun evening. And so you have to lose the ego of, oh, I'm not going to play that. That doesn't make me look cool, or I don't enjoy that. I'm like, no, like that's not, you know, you're not Skrillex, you're not Diplo, you're, you know, you're a DJ.
You're not B-Funk because you don't have the Trust Me Dance Party.
Exactly.
That's true.
Right.
So I think that, and then especially for younger DJs, don't surround yourself with yes men. That will be like, oh, you killed it, even when you didn't. I think Connor and I have been good about this the past few years because we've obviously worked together a lot, but calling each other out. And I mean, not in a negative way, but I think there's, you know, healthy criticism of like, hey, you know, this didn't really go well, or, you know, maybe work on that. Because I think at the end of the day, like, if you're not getting better, you're getting worse. So I think that's been one of the biggest things for me. And I think that's something that we did pretty well with on 13th, of having a culture of getting better. I mean, Trevor, when we met him as a frat DJ, you know, he was, you know, 50% of the way there, but we worked with him and I don't think we were mean to him, but, you know, healthy critique. And, you know, over the last year and a half or so, he's gotten exponentially better. Yeah.
So what does healthy critique look like for you, Sam? Like, so let's say there's this DJ and you know, they're on the way to the gig, and then they cut their parachute too early and they crack their knees. You have to go over and revive them. You have to spend
that happens, man. That
hard
happens
on plates
so much
to revive them. How do you go about giving them feedback?
I usually wait until afterwards.
Yeah, let them embarrass themselves a little bit, you know. It genuinely it'll humble people to choke. Let them choke you think it, you know, before it destroys the bar, what we were going for. Let them feel the sting. I mean, there have been points where we've stepped in, like if it's going like severely in the wrong direction, where you kind of have to step in and realign. But if it's something where it's like, this isn't going to ruin the crowd, isn't going to ruin the night, kind of let them play it out and turn it into like a coaching moment. I sound like an old man when I say that, but and I think it's giving criticism with a solution is important. Yes. Whether that's, hey, you know, we can get together and we can work on this, instead of, hey, that sucked, do better. Yeah. I think unless you're giving a path, like providing a path forward for them, whether that's just advice or, you know, being willing to work with them, you just kind of come off like an asshole. And I think it can ruin your credibility with them for them being willing to listen and take advice from, you know, someone that's been doing it a little bit longer. So positive on the first one. I don't think anyone's mentioned that before. And then the second one has been mentioned on the podcast numerous times, but I like it because that's something we always talk about and something I always like to hear. So you passed. Well done, Biederman. Connor, Quentin, your turn. Tips for listeners that they have not heard before. All right. Well, I won't talk about shows, stuff like that. You know, strictly open format. It's all about how you are approaching it. If you obviously, you got to know your library and stuff, but like programming, organize your crates. It's everything. Don't plan sets, but build routines that you know work. So if you're working on a puzzle, the puzzle is your full DJ shift. You know, you can tell which DJs are doing one puzzle piece at a time. They're like, all right, here. But then DJs who I think are good with open format, they put a couple puzzle pieces together, set it aside, and then they have a bunch of those. So you're filling in that puzzle way more deliberate with what you're doing. I think that will start to give you the freedom to know that you got some solid like 10-minute peak routines. You got some like solid 10-minute down winding routine, like whatever it is that you need to make happen. You can use those accordingly wherever you want, but you're not, you know, playing it song by song. You're like, oh shit, you know, like obviously read the room, but when you're reading the room, you're not just giving them what they want, but you're also directing them towards something, you know, 15 minutes, 20 minutes out, so that everybody's kind of staying fresh and it's not, you know, it's the best word. Like you're not getting fatigue with what's happening and stuff. Like some people don't realize that they've been playing big room for 20 minutes when really it was only appropriate for 10 minutes. You could have gotten out and then played an awesome like song out of that was like 70 BPM, like hip. You really just got to know how long to do something and the most efficient ways to get out of them, especially for open format, like because you could be mashing up so many different things.
And I think for longer sets especially, I mean, if you play the hottest tracks, you're going to blow your load within the first hour. So I mean, we've done a lot of sets where it's, you know, 8, 10 plus hours, you know, and the goal of, you know, sometimes you're repeating a few songs. But if you kind of plan it out more or understand your library, understand what goes well together and kind of the flow of things, you're not going to trap yourself in a corner of like, all right, I'm 2 hours in, I don't know what I'm doing, what I have left in my arsenal, whatever. I think that's Mike's laughing. What are you laughing about?
No, I'm laughing because I'm like, this is probably like what it says on like your Tinder page. It's like, you know, doesn't blow its load in the first couple minutes, could go for 5 to 7 hours, won't trap you in a corner. And I was like, yeah, that's probably what his Tinder profile says. No, man, but honestly, I was gonna go to Brandon and say, well, I'll do it. Brandon, pass or fail for Connor's tip. What do you think?
As far as never hearing it before, or just what he said, or
well, I know you've heard it before, but what do you think?
I've heard that. I think I've heard similar on there. I mean, my question was going to be for you, Connor. How with those vignettes, you know, or those, are they mental, or do you actually have them in a crate, or how do you approach them? You know.
All right, so I'm like violently to a flaw OCD. So, you know, when I crate dig, that's just 2 hours just listening, downloading music. Then I'll organize them all by genre, all that tags in iTunes. Then I'll put them in Serato, analyze them. Then I have crates that I never use smart crates. I really like to do it all manually. I'm a lunatic. Like I told you,
we'll talk about that in a second. But
oh my God, bro.
I am a manual lunatic when it comes to that stuff because I will, you know, build crates for particular bars. I'll have some crates where if I'm just working within a certain BPM, I can really get open formatty because they're not selected by genres. I just know that like all these 80 BPM tracks, whether they be pop, hip hop, whatever, you can go crazy with them. Mm-hmm. I love knowing all my BPM transition tracks. Like that's the real money is for open format. It's like, I'm tweaking out just thinking about it.
Yeah, but a reliable transition track is so good. I'm with you.
Yeah. But when you're, you know, you're talking, because, you know, don't ever plan out the set, which I agree with, you know, like what you're saying, like you have these, you know, vignettes is a term I got from DJ Tech Tools, but, you know, like, do you actually have that? Like, here's an example. When I do a wedding, I just always play Dancing Queen, and then right after that I play Staying Alive because I can beat match it and I just makes it work and people go crazy. But I don't have that anywhere. I just do it naturally. No. And so I'm wondering, do you have, because some people have it, you know, physically in there. So
no, I would have way too many of those then, because I mean, literally they could be only 3 songs, you know, like there's like 53 song routines in my head that kind of go around whenever. If I realize I need to play one of those 3 songs for some reason, then I'll be like, okay, how can I make that routine work? Because not only are they going to hear the song, but it's going to have a little bit more pop to it. You know, a little bit, it would seem they more likely where instead of they'll be like, well, that's the song I wanted to hear. They're like, you know, damn, what did he just do there? Kind of. But no, I wouldn't know how to go about doing like mini routines because crates are so broad. I mean, it's a good.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a knocker. I just wonder because people have different things. So like Jay Flip is somebody who she takes a song and she's like, oh, this shit works, and she just puts it together, and then she can pull that out. So when that song's there, I don't personally do that, but I like that's you were talking about that. So I like to know what people are doing and
I
understand.
will say, because I never want to make like a pre-recorded set, but if there's 2 tracks that might have a tricky transition, but I know they work, I'll throw them in Ableton and just make it a bootleg so that cuts out a step for me. Just things that I consistently return to. I'm just like, why not make it even cleaner in Ableton? And
everyone
it might
should
be
do that. I agree 100%. I've got that. So
yes.
Sam, I had a question for you.
Oh,
how do you
real
find?
quick, Brandon. I just want to say,
sorry.
I just want to say that was Connor. What you said, past 100%. I love the puzzle analogy. I'm stealing the shit out of that from you. And yeah, like I think of it the same way, right? And just like Brandon saying, Brandon nailed it. Like obviously you can DJ however you want. There's no wrong way to DJ. But if you're at a wedding and you're not playing Dancing Queen into Staying Alive, you're wrong. And Brandon knows that.
It works. You can play it anywhere. It works.
Bro, like autopilot. I don't care what's going on. Bathroom break. Go to the bar. Like, go to your car for a couple minutes. Like that is going to work everywhere. So yeah, have some vignettes, mini sets, pieces of the puzzle, like or regions of the puzzle that go together. Now go ahead.
I will say one more thing, not to interrupt, but if you are playing a long set and it's a busy bar, it does not hurt to have some bathroom break routines as well. Like to know you're like, all right, I got to get myself at least a 5-minute window to fight to the bar, like the bathroom, and get back in time. That's the worst. Is if you're like, if you ever DJ and you really got to pee, like it is the worst time of your life. So
yeah, that's true.
Definitely. More than controlling the crowd, control your bladder.
Hey Connor, how old is your DJ library?
Let's see. I would say 2012 is when I started kind of building it. In iTunes.
So you're gonna start looking into smart crates. The only reason I'm gonna say it because I agree. I like what you're doing, and like I said, there's no wrong way. It just does a lot of the stuff, and as your crate, your library gets larger and larger, and your crowds change, you're gonna lose stuff somewhere, and it's not even your fault. And there's ways you can have it, start using tags and stuff like that, so it pulls up. Like I've started reintegrating my old library for that because there's just gold that you forget about. Like I've been re-importing a lot of music, but that's just something I know you're like, I like to have a personal touch, but like you can do both. Yeah. You can just have it all dumped here and then it pulls you up or whatever. So that's just my 2 cents. Not the right way or wrong way. It's just I think once you get into it and start using it, you'll really like it. So
I think
go ahead, Connor.
I was just like with the tags. If I can find a way to do that, because I'll be getting. I think you explained it with how you organize your crates. B-Funk, how you get. Sometimes you'll be downloading Tech House, but some Tech House is strictly for more freedom kind of shows, but some Tech House is very open format. Usually the crates that I want to draw from would be the open format stuff. Like I think it's just because I always have those two kind of separated, even though they're both labeled the same genre. One is like playability values way higher on a regular basis for me, and so I like to manually drop that one in.
I'd echo B-Funk on that, Connor. Maybe try to make one smart crate. Like pick out something that, like, if you find yourself, like, I know you said you organize by like venues, so maybe if you have like an Ethel crate and a Midway crate. This is not but as an example, make like a smart crate called College and make it populate from anything that you put in a Midway or Ethel, like it'll go into there, right? Or anything that maybe you have like a hip hop folder, and then you have like a 90s hip hop folder, 2000 and the 2010s, right? Just make one smart crate that says like hip hop all, and every time that and just make it populate from like all the different hip hop eras. Just try like 1 or 2 of those, and I think you'll, especially with your OCDness, you're gonna end up with like 50 smart crates. I'm Brandon. How sure are you?
I keep making tags that I don't have filters to put in. I'm like, oh shit, I didn't. It's classic and stuff like vocal and energy, 80s, 90s. It is. I think your OCD, you're gonna love it because you can have it literally go into that spot. But it is a lot of work, and you have to. And my favorite thing, like I talked about last time, is literally Tech House lasts 3 months. It's just right there. So then I have everything else. So I can still go to that, but it's just one less click on the thing that I have to bother about. But it can be anything. I mean, the tags is the thing that takes it to the next level. If you don't have tags, if it's just genre or something, you're not getting up. But if you're just like you're talking about, like I have shit that goes into weddings, but also that works, like at an open format or something like that, or that goes for EDM. I want that to show up in all 3 spots, so I have that, a new track that I have is Trust Me. That's what I use for my stuff. So I'm like, this is, like a Franz Ferdinand type song that's a Trust Me song. I wouldn't normally play that at a regular show, but that's a song that get people going. It's a little different LCD, but I did want to ask Sam a question, if that's okay, Mike, about his tip. Is that
you're co-host, man, 50-50.
Okay, hey, I'm sitting in. I'm not it's a monumental show. So Sam, you were talking about finding, not having just yes men around you. So how do you identify that? I guess is an important question, because it's awesome. You guys have that culture and stuff like that. But like, what? Oh, Mike's got an answer. Well, I'm asking this to Sam and Mike. You get at it, but how do you identify those people, whether they be your friends or whatnot? Because some people they just hate on you and they're just going to hate, and that's not constructive criticism. They're just hating on what you do, but usually others are, dude, that was sick set, bro. You brought the energy, and they were just drunk off their ass the whole time, and or they weren't even in the club, when you did that. So how do you identify those people if they're not readily making themselves available? Like how do you, how's that conversation happen and stuff like that? So for newer DJs, who are listening to the podcast.
It's tricky. I think for me, especially starting out, it was in large part it was Bryson, Paul, Alex, Nick Reed. Like in my mind, like very early on, those were the people that were, giving the constructive criticism. I remember the first show I did. It was Hermitude, the first Laboom I played. It was three or 4 years ago.
I did lights at that show. That show was awesome.
But I completely butchered my set. And I remember walking up afterwards, and they're like, and I mean, it was a shitty feeling, but it was like, all right, there's a standard, I need to do better. And so I went home, practiced my ass off, and then the next show went, monumentally better. I think it's depending on what circle you're running in, whether you're more show focused, whether you're more, club focused. If it's, where you're working with promo groups, it's all right, who are the people that are playing direct support? How are they doing it? Can you get in with them? And, because they're going to want to uphold the standard that they've created. You know what I mean? And so if you're going to be a part of that, I think that's how you can identify if like, all right, we're sticking to their, the way that they do things, kind of got to get with it or get out to some extent. Or if you're going the more club route of, Connor and I are still young, but, having Trevor come in where we were kind of the more experienced guys, being able to, fill that role. I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's great. I mean, I just think it's important people understand that, that is crucial to getting better. It's great to get gassed up by your friends, but dude, once you get to that person who doesn't know your friends, doesn't know you, they're going to tell you suck. And, that crash is way worse if you haven't been told that you're not where you're supposed to be. But yeah, Mike, you look like you had something to say about that. So,
hey man, I've been talking about it for years. Oh, what's it?
I think it's, getting input from people that are knowledgeable, whether they're DJs or just around and they've experienced what a good DJ sounds like or a bad DJ sounds like. You know, Chad or Brad, the 20-year-old at, you know, Phi Cap isn't necessarily going to be the most, you know, experienced person to give feedback, you know, good or bad. It might, you know, it might make you feel warm and fuzzy, but at the end of the day, if there are things that, you know, should be pointed out for you to grow, he might not necessarily be the one that's knowledgeable enough in that category to be like, hey, you know, maybe work on this. So I think surrounding yourself with peers that, you know, when possible, that, you know, are knowledgeable and can, you know, provide insights.
I think I know what you're trying to say, Sam, but I'm gonna elaborate on it and say, like, take feedback from everyone. Like, yeah, obviously you want to take feedback from, you know, everyone who's on this podcast right now and other DJs, but keep in mind that most of the people that we DJ to aren't DJs, right? So I value feedback from DJs only slightly more than what I get from the crowd, because that's a really good indicator. I know these people aren't paying attention as much, but it's also a good indicator of like what the masses are doing, right? For every gig that I play, there's probably only 2 or 3 DJs in the crowd, and the rest of them are lay people who just want to have a good time. So I'm sure I know you do take feedback from everyone, but I don't want somebody to like hear your point and be like, oh yeah, don't listen to everyone. Listen to everyone, listen to the club owners, but you have to when you take feedback, I would say try things, but also don't be afraid to protect what makes you unique. So we were talking about Connor, right? And making smart crates. So, you know, B-Funk and I said, yeah, make 1 or 2 smart crates and see if you like them. You'll probably end up with 50, right? So if he makes 1 or 2 smart crates and he's like, you know, this isn't helping me at all. I've never clicked on these smart crates at all in my life. Don't be afraid, Connor, to be like, yo, you know, this is what makes me unique. This is the way my brain works for stuff. And with anyone who gives you feedback, just be sure, like, take what people are saying, but don't be afraid to say, hey, what they're doing is not for me. This is what makes me unique. I'm going to go this route. And that's all I really wanted to say.
Agreed.
And ask the right questions. I think that's important. How am I doing is not helpful as a DJ. You know, oh, it was good, but like, you know, you guys, we value song selection. How was the end? Stuff like that. You know, be ready with those questions and ask the same question to different people. You know, that will go further. And I'm not telling you guys this is for everybody else. That's what you guys do. But, you know, like that's something that, you know, I think a lot of people don't, you know, understand, because they're just like, dude, I killed it. All my friends were there, bro. They loved it. You know, what are you talking about? It's like, yeah, I mean, it was good, but yeah, like, you know, did the bar make money? No, I mean, you might be killing with your party, but they're not, you know. So, but yeah, I just wanted to, you know, get your guys' insight, because everyone sees it differently. You know, it's super important to talk to the gatekeepers to make sure they're happy. But, you know, if I'm trying to play, you know, tech house, I mean, I want to talk to a bass person, you know, or vice versa. Or if I want to do trance and it's a disco place, it may not be the great place to be talking to them, you know. So.
This is a question for all you guys. What DJ pools are you on, and how many hours or how much time per week do you spend on finding new music? And let's talk about pre-quarantine. Right now, music's in a weird spot. So let's talk about pre-quarantine. What pools are you on, and then how much time do you spend on each pool per week?
Well, pre-quarantine, I mean,
you've had enough. Sam, why don't you talk?
Yeah.
I'm just talking. I love it.
So,
man,
I'm on LDS, Benzies, on
Give me a little.
DMP.
So sorry. As you talk about like the pool, maybe say like 1 or 2 good things about it, and then 1 or 2 things that you don't like about it. Just so people can.
Okay, so live DJ service is Benzies. Super good for heavier edits. So especially during like block season, you know, when you could get away with those heavier things, it was perfect for that, or for hip hop, like for straight hip hop, because they tend to go a little bit deeper than like the DMP or DMS does. The flip side is they're not super good about updating it like frequently, because they'll do batch updates. So by the time they push something out, it's usually, you know, not really relevant anymore. Digital music pool, probably my most consistent one.
That's pretty cheap, right? Like there was $10 last time I checked.
I think it might be 20, but I mean, LDS is 30. I think DMS is 50. But it's super good for, especially for house edits, and for pop, like for straight pop. No real complaints with that. DMS, it's good. I think it's a little bit overrated, but it kind of fills the gaps, mostly for originals on there. They'll have a decent amount of good edits, but nothing like mind blowing in my opinion, at least for what we're using them for. And then I use Headliner. They have some phenomenal edits, so like they're exclusives that you can't get anywhere else. I think that one's like $40 a month, but well worth it if you're doing frequent gigs, every weekend and want to, freshen it up. So between the last two that you mentioned, I think you mentioned Digital Music Service and then Headliner Music Club. It sounds like Headliner Music Clubs has the better edits. Yeah. Okay. I think for like knockout edits, if I had to go with only one service, I would probably go with them. Nice. The rest has a lot of overlap, but they usually kind of, together fill the gaps and get me what I need. Thanks, bud. So, how much time do you spend on a week with all of those subscriptions? If I'm doing it every week, usually hour to 2 hours. If I'm only catching up from, the last week or so, but, cause I don't hit all the boxes, like, especially for LDS, but say I have a show coming up where it's, much more EDM focused than I would normally play, then I'll go back through, and search specifically for that. So cool, man. That's really helpful. Connor.
It depends. If you can stay on it weekly, then yeah, you can make it a 2-hour crate dig session. Try to keep it healthy. If I wait, more than 2 weeks, then I could get caught into like an 8-hour just obsession dig. Like, I'll open DMS. I'm like, oh, there's like 3 new pages. And so I'll have to go back to where I last saw and then go through every song.
Wow. So you go through every song.
It's bad.
I wouldn't say it's bad, man. I would not say it's bad.
But there's definitely key words or artist names or things that'll pop out, and I'll be like, ooh, or somebody, Danny Diggs. Certain people you just know make good bootlegs, so like I don't want to miss those. I'll get really pissed if I'm out and somebody's been like, yeah, it's been out for a month, you didn't download it. I'm like, what the hell, man? But the secret one, since Sam covered all the ones that you pay for, but the secret sauce is smashtheclub.com. It's free. They got a bootleg pack section, and I mean, some of these artists that are putting their bootlegs on, you don't see on any of the other services. There'll be like sometimes summer edit, like usually seasonal kind of bootleg packs that the main artist put out, and they'll have up to like 50 songs, which will have a clean, dirty, it's awesome. Smash the Club for free. If somebody doesn't want to pay, but they want to get some like good stuff, go to Smash the Club.
Damn, it's some good ass content. Isn't it be fun?
Yeah, no, that's great. I actually just went to that site.
He's over here like, I'm already there, bro.
I'm like, let me go
Smash the Club, man.
Yeah.
You don't have to check as often. That's the good thing. Like you could be a monthly thing with Smash the Club, whereas other places it's like you could get oversaturated if you're not on there weekly.
Oh, I have not been.
I'm
monthly or yearly. So
yeah, I'm definitely gonna check out Smash the Club. I mean, you can't fight free, and then Headliner Music Club from you, Sam. I think that's gonna be one that I check out, because I think that's where when you said DMS is overrated, my heart sank a little bit. But I do. If you say that the edits, like the remixes, are better at Headliner Music Club, I think that's where if I say I can say all the nice things about DMS, but the one thing is it's like their exclusive edits could be better. I think, they could use some higher energy ones. I feel like there's a lot of the remixers on there are really veterans, so they've kind of have a mold. And maybe Headliner Music Club has some fresher guys who have they do more unique edits. I feel like what you're going to get from the guys from DMS a lot. So that is a takeaway for me. So thank you. let's see, Corrupt is not here, so we're going to talk about 614 releases. 614 is an awesome clothing company here in Columbus. You can find them at 614. Obviously, a reference to 614, the area code here. The only thing that I saw released this week is Crazy in Love, the Fear in Low edit. You can find that on their SoundCloud. It is not an official release on their Spotify, but you can find it on their SoundCloud. It's solid. It's exactly what you expect from Fear in Low remixing a top 40 song. I think that's something we could all use in our crates. It's solid. If you're thinking, oh my gosh, you didn't promote my music, can I release something? Yo, let me know. I'm literally on every social media. You guys have my email. There's a document floating around where you can just literally add what you're releasing and the date, which really helps me out because then I can tell people where to go in the description of the YouTube. Check that out. But so far, Fear and Low's edit of Crazy in Love is all that I saw, which if you're putting out content, if you're just DJing, you don't need a MailChimp. But if you're actually putting out content, MailChimp is huge because now you're not relying on the algorithm to push your posts to your followers. Most normal people, high-functioning people will check their email once a week. They will see that, you know, Connor, that Sam, that Brandon, you know, put out a monthly update with all of their projects. If they don't open it, that's on them, but at least they saw it. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. Check us out every Thursday. 6:15 is the pre-show. We start the official show at 6:30, and we would love to have you here asking questions and in the chat. Peace. That's it.
Where are we dropping?
Where are we dropping?